powered by Seen It and Rack the Planet. We are sitting down with director, producer, and animator Andreas Deja, whose film is Mushka, premiered last night here at the Fest, or screened last night at the Fest, to rave reviews, by the way. I'm hearing really good things around the festival this morning, including from our own Luana, who went and saw it and just talked about how it reminded her so much, and like you and I were talking on the red carpet last night, of movies that we grew up with. Of animated movies that we grew up watching and that we grew up loving, and it sounds like your movie is that. Is that what you had in mind while you guys made this thing?
It's a little bit of a throwback to the Disney 1960s, 70s. So those were the years when they made 101 Dalmatians, Aristocats, Robin Hood, and those were the first films I saw. And when you look back at those films, you realize that the drawings of the characters are kind of loose. They're more sketchy than what preceded them. Because in the old days with Peter Pan and Cinderella, they were very nicely inked and very clean. And then Disney had to economize and said, why don't we put the animators' loose drawings on the screen instead? So that's what happened. And I love that, because it gives it sort of a more spontaneous, more artistic look. And I wanted to do that style for Mushka.
It almost has like a texture to it in a way. I notice,
and the vibration in the line, it gives it almost a little extra life.
Right. Yeah. Totally. I notice. I have kids. I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old watching all these animated things, and especially now that everything's been almost updated to HD, you can see the drawings jumping around in a way that I feel like I couldn't when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It makes it textured, I guess. Like
it gives sort of a personal touch. It really shows you that the animator made a personal statement. This is that animator's drawing, you know, and not a generic CG thing. I mean, CG animation is great and can do wonderful things, but I just still express myself with pencil and paper, and I wanted to still do that.
Yeah, it almost feels like listening to a record on vinyl versus listening to one just digitally on Spotify.
You can put it that way, yeah.
So, I mean, you're an animator, though. As well as a director, as well as a producer. How long have you been animating films? Did you ever work on any of those old Disney films or the films we grew up loving?
I worked on a few,
yeah.
I think our first breakout hit was a combination of animation and live action. That was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So I worked
I've heard of it.
That little movie, you know,
yeah.
with the crazy rabbit.
Wow.
So I worked on that for a whole year in London. We had a crew over there at the time. And that was a big hit. And that was followed right away by the Little Mermaid, where I animated King Triton, her father. It was also a big hit. And then something funny happened. I was just running into some teenagers at that time. Little Mermaid had just come out. And one of them said, "You worked on the Little Mermaid?" And I said, "Yeah, I drew her father." And he said, "That was a great date film. I took my girlfriend and we snuggled up and we loved watching the Little Mermaid." And it just dawned on me, my goodness, we have the teenagers back. Because before The Little Mermaid and Roger Rabbit, teenagers, you wouldn't...
It was only like little kids.
It was for little kids
right.
and families. That was Disney animation, but not for teenagers.
Right.
So we changed that with those films. And we kept them for Aladdin, for Beauty and the Beast, for Lion King, all of those. So it was a fantastic time to see that.
Well, as soon as the drawings met the songs and everything, you can't get that stuff out of your head, and we were all drawn to it.
But also, I think the characters grew up a little bit. There's a sort of nostalgic romance in Cinderella and Snow White, almost a stylized romance. But Ariel was like a modern girl. She was rebellious, and she fell in love with that prince, and she wanted to see him and date him, and it was kind of modern. Then her father said, "Don't go to the surface again, you can't do that, I told you not to." And that was a situation I experienced when I was a kid, when my older sister started dating, and she would go to a disco, and my dad says, "You'll be back by 11. And of course she wouldn't. So she would come home, my father would wait up, and he would do those King Triton things, just like, "I told you, I told you to be back." And Ariel? Yeah, Krista was my sister. Oh, yeah. And it dawned on me that this is real life. I actually saw this and experienced this. So some of the gestures that King Triton is going through is actually my dad.
Well, I would like to stay there for a minute. I was going to move to Mushka, but I mean, so does King Triton look like your dad a little bit?
He has these big hands, and my dad was a steel worker. My dad also had big hands, so I used that physically, facially, not so much. But the whole demeanor and the expressions are really my dad's. And years later, I just told my dad, I said, "Dad, you're in a Disney movie." He goes, "Huh?" And I said, "Well, remember the King Triton, the Little Mermaid? It's sort of like you." And he was so confused by that, he didn't know if that was a good or a bad thing.
He's like, I agree with everything he said, though. I do agree with everything. From one precocious animated character to another, then. So talk about Mushka then, because the story, little girl, we were talking about it on the red carpet last night, but with the tiger and all of that, can we talk about the story and sort of what the movie means?
Yeah, so I found myself being on my own after 30 years at Disney because I wanted to continue drawing and being an artist, and I just love animating with pencil and paper, and I wanted to keep doing that. So, but I also knew that I needed a sizable project to get my teeth into, not just doing a little bit of teaching, a little bit of animation, no, something sizable. So I thought, okay, if I create my own project, what do you like drawing most? Well, I love drawing animals at zoos, and I still do that. And which would be an animal that would be fun to animate that I haven't done yet? Well, I really like tigers. I think they're elegant. It's a mixture of power and elegance. They're beautiful to look at, but they're so powerful. And I thought if I create a storyline between a tiger and an innocent girl, the dynamics of that could lead to a good story, maybe. Mm-hmm. And then I thought about, well, she raises this tiger cub, and when he gets older, she finds out, when the tiger grows up, basically, she finds out that there are bad people around them who want to kill the tiger and sell the dead body on the black market. And of course she wants to save him. She takes him into the forest where she found him and hopes that he will become a wild tiger now. But things don't go according to plan. So that's the idea I had, which is not really a script yet or a full story. And I just reached out to a friend of mine who has written books and novels and poetry and all kinds of stuff. And he helped me with his screenplay, and he sort of created other characters that came into play, the grandmother, the estranged father, and so all these character dynamics came into play. And when I read the screenplay, I thought, well, it's not exactly what I had in mind. It's not a comedy. It's not like slapping, happy and silly.
Yeah.
It has a sort of a novel. It reads like a novel. But I did like the tone in it. I said, let's commit to it and let's just do it without all these side gags.
Well, that's the thing I like about it, though. I mean, it feels real. I mean, the older movies that we're talking about, that I grew up loving, and from the time that we were talking about, like there are sort of some darker elements sometimes, or some like kind of creepy-ish elements, if I may. That like I find with a lot of the computer animated stuff now, it's kind of squeaky clean and a little too sugary. Like I like that we can sort of get a little creepy, dark, scary, or whatever. Like that was fun as a kid to be creeped out a little bit. Ursula's a little creepy.
Oh, a little.
Her little eels that come along with her.
Yeah.
You have to have a little creep factor.
I think for the range of the set of characters you have for contrast, it's good to have
and
that.
And Mushka has that a little bit.
And it also looking at the main character Sarah, it's like she's got real problems. Mm-hmm. She was raised not by her parents, but by her grandmother. Mm-hmm. And she's never knew her dad. I mean, these are situations that kids experience. Some kids go through. So it felt kind of real to me.
Yeah. What's it like seeing it with an audience?
The best. Well, if it goes over well, which last night I really felt it, that people got the story, and I saw a tear in people's eyes here and there, and it is an emotional story, and I'm really proud of the ending, because the movie is basically a flashback, because we meet this young lady entering a train, and as the train starts rolling, she kind of falls asleep, and she has this dream. She reflects back on her childhood, and that's the movie. And then we get back to her in present time, so to speak. And in the last scene, when she picks up these 2 new tiger cubs, we actually find out if the tiger she knew from childhood, that he probably made it, that he's still out there. And that is such a subtle but poignant payoff to me, and I'm really proud of the ending.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It's really great. You want to do some questions?
Yeah.
Some scenic questions? Yeah. I'm overwhelmed. I could just talk old animation all day long. Let's do some questions, though. Why not? Let's see. What dark superheroes film's tagline is "Why so serious"? What dark superheroes? What dark superhero film's tagline is "Why so serious"?
So
whose villain? It should be asked. What villain has the tagline "Why so serious"? We should rewrite this question for Scene It, Vic. Do you know answer that one?
No.
It's the Joker in Batman.
Oh, so sorry.
That was too dark.
There's that.
The Loop Live is brought to you guys by Seen It, America's favorite movie board game. There's a commemorative mammoth, silver woolly mammoth game piece that comes with it this year, and we're really proud of that. But also, the Loop Live is brought to you by Rack the Planet. I'm going to hand you this briefcase, Andreas. I'm going to open it for
look at
you.
that.
Hand it to you. There's some cold hard cash in there. There actually is inside that box.
I see it.
And your mission is you can take that cash and either hand it to someone out there that you see walking around the festival or in town, and they can do something cool with it. You can keep it for yourself, whatever you want to do. But either way, go out there and random act of kindness the planet. Rack the planet.
Great idea. Thank you so much for this.
Of course. Thanks for stopping by, and congratulations, and thanks for being at Mammoth.
Thank you so much.
Cool. This has been Mammoth FF, keeping you in the loop.